rumors of React Court's demise have been greatly over-exaggerated. Check it out, baby. Instantly into it. Am I the asshole for doing the same thing to my sister-in-law that she does to my son? I guess I would have to say it depends what the thing is. So background, I 32F have a brother, Dave, who's married to Sarah. They don't have children yet. I have a son who just turned 4 and a 3-month-old daughter with my husband, 39M, who apparently does not get a name. My husband and I live in Belgium most of the time, quit bragging, but we travel back to visit family about once a month in England. At home, we speak both English and French to our children. My husband is Belgian. This shit is like, it's too complicated already. The context is out of control. I can't keep this straight. It's like the first episode of Rings of Power. Like, come on, why don't you introduce Gollum? Stop talking in your Hobbit language about how many wheels of cheese you need to make it through the winter this year. Can we get into the meat and potatoes of the social assassination here? My son is in a very sweet phrase where sometimes he'll mix up the two languages and say a couple of words in English in a French sentence or vice versa. This has never posed a problem to us, and even the staff at his nursery have reassured us that it's very common and they tend to grow out of it. Yeah, he's 3 years old. He's 4. Okay. Of course. Oh, what do you mean nobody has a problem with it? Oh, my child is not perfectly bilingual at age 4. Of course no one has a problem with it. Nobody cares. My sister-in-law's decided this is a problem, so when we're visiting my parents, she notices my son doing this, she'll correct him. But she does so really rudely, whereas my husband and I will just gently correct him. Anyway, we're visiting at the moment, and she's now decided instead of correcting him, she's just going to start ignoring him when he does this. I sort of noticed her doing it when we arrived, and I thought it was odd, but assumed maybe she was stressed because her job is quite intense. But it only really became an issue yesterday. My husband was talking to my dad outside. I was feeding my daughter in the other room. I'd left Louis with Sarah and Dave. When I came downstairs, Louis was crying, and I managed to understand that he tried to ask Sarah for a drink. He has a special cup he uses that he was holding, so it was obvious what he meant, but that she just ignored him. I asked her why, and she explained she wasn't going to reply to him unless he said the sentence correctly, and that I shouldn't be ignoring my son's obvious speech issues. For context, it's not that she didn't know what he wanted. She told me that she understood exactly what he was asking for, but that she was deliberately refusing because he hadn't asked correctly. This really pissed me off, which is very fair for the record. Seems extremely fair. Luckily, my husband came inside at that moment and pulled me away so we could calm down and settle Louis. That night at the dinner table, Sarah asked me to pass her something, but she said it in bad English. She is English. I just mean she asked for it in slang. Think pass us the peas, will you? I had a bit of an epiphany, and I just decided to totally ignore her. She asked it again, and I did the same thing. My brother asked why I was ignoring his wife. I said I'm not able to reply if she can't speak English correctly, and that it's wrong of him to ignore her obvious issues with grammar. Everyone's pretty pissed off today, and I admit it was incredibly childish, but she was needlessly being a dickhead to my baby. Should I just apologize? No, you're based. This is the most, it's so cut and dry, it's boring. Your sister-in-law is a real jerk, if this is real. Why can't people, again, we're assuming this is normal, or this is real, I should say. It's definitely not normal. Why can't people just be normal? You're having a family dinner. There's a 4-year-old. Just treat the 4-year-old like a part of your family. I don't understand why you would stonewall a 4-year-old kid because they're not speaking 100% correctly. Doesn't make any sense. Most real Am I the Asshole post of all time. I'm out of here. It's too easy. Hold on. I gotta find something that's got some meat on it. That was just a little warm up. Just a little warm up. How about this one? Am I the asshole for dropping my sister's kids at the child-free wedding that she was at? I'm gonna guess that it's probably a no because it says not the asshole. But this always starts with like, am I the asshole for violating a tenant that somebody asked me to follow? And then you're like, yes. And then later they're like, my sister is addicted to crack cocaine and left her kids with me for 17 days straight. And you're like, okay, you know what? Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Do you see the tweet that was like, People will write posts that are like, am I the asshole for poisoning my spouse? And then when you read it, you're like, no, you're not the asshole. But then if somebody makes a post that's like, am I the asshole for cooking my wife her favorite dinner? You know you're about to read some serial killer shit. It's actually true. If you ever see an Am I the Asshole post that's like, am I the asshole for doing an incredibly nice thing? You know you're about to see something written from the perspective of Jeffrey Dahmer. Am I the asshole for dropping my sister's kids at the child-free wedding she was at? To make a long story short, they not the asshole! Let's go! Sanest, most insane Redditor, to make a long story short. Thank you, thank you. To make a long story short, I am a medical student. My free time is very limited. I have lots of commitments. My sister has 3 kids, all under 10. She often expects me to babysit for her, which isn't the main problem. But she drops them off at random times with short notice or no notice at all. Okay, that's bad. The other day she called saying she was on her way to drop the kids off at my place because she was attending her friend's child-free wedding and couldn't take the kids with her. I had a huge argument with her on the phone because I had to study for my upcoming exam. Next thing I knew, the kids were at my doorstep. She was already back in the car and then drove off with her husband. I was so pissed I couldn't handle it. I decided to get dressed 30 minutes later and take the kids right where their mom and dad were. I drove them to the wedding, which was at her friend's house, and had them go in. The men there tried to stop the kids till my sister and her husband came rushing. My sister was shocked. She started shouting at me, but I quickly got in the car and drove off. I went home and she started calling me. After she realized I wasn't going to pick up, she sent a few texts calling me unhinged and a fucking... a fucking... You censored the B word, but you didn't censor the F word. $$ for putting her in this situation and embarrassing her in front of her friends. She mentioned that by bringing the kids to the child-free wedding, I disrespected her friend, which affected their relationship and caused her and her husband to go home and miss out on the rest of the wedding. Her husband calls later, and I pick up thinking he'd speak to me rationally like he always does, but he scolded me, saying it wouldn't hurt if I kept the kids for a few hours, then expressed how disappointed he was and how selfish and petty I was to do this. Okay, it's too easy. Obviously, your sister is in the wrong in this situation. We got to start sorting by controversial. Everybody sucks here? No, I disagree. I side with the 25-year-old med student who had her three nieces and nephews dropped off on her doorstep without her sister ever asking in the first place. I side with the student on this one. Let me find some asshole ones. How about this one? I love the neighbor conflicts because they're so petty, but they seem so serious when you're in them. Am I the asshole? Is there a way to hide this thing that says similar to this post? Oh, get out of here. Naruto AMV from 2007. Thank you for the gifted subscription. Subscriptions, by the way. Thank you. You have to use old Reddit for that. Fair enough. It is a great username. Like, I don't want to see the news on Reddit, man. I've been living in... am I the asshole for wanting my neighbor to remove her Ring doorbell? I've been living in my apartment complex for 2 years and it's been wonderful. Recently, a young woman moved in across from my apartment. We introduced briefly, and apart from the noise made when she was having movers bring in her things, she's very quiet and polite. Hey, why mention that it was loud when the movers moved her in? Of course, it was loud when the movers moved you in, too, dummy. That's what happens. This is one day, maybe like at most it takes like a week, and then it's over with. That does not strengthen your point. It makes it seem like you're holding a grudge over something you yourself admit is understandable. However, there's one thing that bothers me. She has a Ring doorbell on her door. Recently, I saw her leaving, and I asked why she had it, and then I was worried she could see me in my apartment. Sanest individual of all time. She said she had it for packages and due to no peepholes on the door and just extra security. She showed me that yes, she can see my door a bit, but assured me she's not on her phone all day checking it. I expressed my uncomfortableness and asked her to remove it. She told me she's sorry I was uncomfortable, but she's not spying on me and she had a right to have one up. She wasn't breaking her lease and she's seen other people in the complex have one. I told her, I don't care about other people. I want it gone or I'll be reporting her. For what? She told me not to bother and called our property manager regarding it because I got a visit from her later asking me to leave her and the doorbell alone. Am I really out of line for this? Yes, you're insane. You've lost your mind? I don't know what to. I don't know what else to say. I can't mine anything off of this. Are you? Yeah. Are you on the FBI's most wanted criminals list? This is not like if you don't have anything to hide, you wouldn't need privacy. Okay. It's a doorbell camera. I guarantee you're not doing anything. And you know, because a person that was doing something, they would just rip it off and then say, oh, sorry, I saw the movers bump into it with a box or something like that. They would, if they're already in for a penny, it's in for a pound with some crimes, right? Maybe not every crime, but I just don't understand. You know, and I talk about this now and then. When you live in an apartment, it's a knife that cuts both ways. You have to be saner than you have to be if you live in a single family home, okay? You don't, you can't play music as loud as you want at all times of the day. You can't make as much of a mess in like the shared areas and stuff like that. But at the same time, you also have to be understandable when you're slightly inconvenienced in a reasonable fashion by other people. So I get so annoyed whenever there's like a HOA meeting or something like that, and people are like, should we ban dogs from the apartment complex because sometimes they piss on the ground? And I'm like, I'm sorry to tell you. Well, you're living with people. The people have a right to have pets. Sometimes you're going to see some dog shit, okay? Sometimes you're going to see some dog pee. And sometimes people are going to take their bike through a hallway and you're going to see like a little trail of dirt on the hallway. The solution to this is not ban bikes from the building. The solution to this is like you get a life. You get a life and you get something like more important to care about than the exact height of someone's grass on their lawn or something like that, right? Similar situation. First off, it seems like this lady is like in the wrong to begin with because of the fact that the property manager told her to F off. But even if it was against the tenants of the apartment building itself, who cares, man? It's a doorbell. My verdict here is get a life. And honestly, my sentence is imposed immediately. This is GAL, get a life. Ring doorbells violate privacy laws according to data protection statutes. Okay, but listen, she didn't say that. She did not say it's an Amazon camera that sells its data to the police. She said, I'm worried that she can see inside of my apartment door with her Ring camera. That's crazy. She's still on Get a Life for sure. Once again, Get a Life. You know what? Maybe that's two Get a Lives. Hold on. Okay, we're going back one. I'm not standing the Ring Corporation. But if you gave me the opportunity to, if I have to choose one, either the extrajudicial Ring Corporation or that lady, I'm going to dinner with the extrajudicial corporation. I'm sorry to say. Maybe that makes me a bad person. But I'm choosing who I have to spend time with. You can catch me reading a magazine in the waiting room. I'm not going to her house. She seems like the kind of person you wear like nice clothes. Like just clean, casual clothes. You go into her house. She says something sarcastic like, you didn't have to dress up. Am I the asshole for not wanting my husband to walk his sister down the aisle? Probably. I mean, I deliberately picked it because it says asshole. I'm not going to lie. My husband, Mike, is the eldest in his family. He's pretty close with his sister, Beth, and they spend almost all week together. Beth had issues with her father growing up. She went no contact with him after he took her first car and damaged it. She only remained in contact with Mike since everybody else judged her for going no contact. She's getting married to her fiancé of 3 years. From what I understand, she and her dad are slowly getting reconciled, but she made it clear she wants him to take no part in the wedding. She asked Mike if he could walk her down the aisle, and he agreed. And I took that personally. Wait, where's the problem? I have to say I was taken aback And it felt a bit odd for me, someone who's not involved at all, because her dad is alive and they're on speaking terms again. He's going to be there at the wedding, so the logical thing to do is have him walk her down the aisle. The role isn't for her older brother, but her father, not to mention how the father-in-law will feel about it. I brought this up with Beth, and she had an attitude and implied I was just saying this because of how I feel about the situation, not our traditions and how they should be practiced. We got into an argument, and she went home. I went home. Mike thinks I'm being unreasonable and possibly causing him to miss something so sentimental, and that, if anything, he feels honored to be asked to do this for, and said I should stop worrying about what others might say. Now we're having this conflict, three of us, and cannot seem to reach a solution. Here's the solution. Why are you part? It's this sentence right here. Now we're having this conflict, three of us. The wife, like the bride, the person she asked to do something for her, and then you, someone with whom it has, you don't, your opinion on this is weightless. It means nothing. Why you shouldn't be involved. Now we're having this conflict and cannot seem to reach a solution. I'm sentencing you to get a life as well. I'm sorry. But this is not, there's some situations where I'm like, this is the right thing to be concerned about, but you're still the asshole. This is like even worse than the Ring doorbell situation. You've manufactured a problem out of thin air. Let your husband walk his sister down the aisle, sit politely through the ceremony, take advantage of the open bar at the reception, go home, wake up at 9:30 a.m. on Sunday morning, get some chores done, live your life. Like, what's the issue? I don't understand why are you making it so complicated? It's not even your wedding. You're absolutely right. There was no problem. The problem was solved by the two people involved. And then you said, no, there's a problem here. There's no reason for this. I don't even know what else to read into this. Like, there's no... I've got to find, like, the first not the asshole. Because I need to see what the other side thinks here. There was no conflict except for your unwanted opinion. Very true. User received the Reddit Galaxy for this post. You're the asshole. There's three places in life you can always stay for free. In your lane, out of other people's business, or over there with your nonsense. Owned. Me searching the GIF keyboard for the lady on Big Brother who's eating, or she's drinking tea with foam on it, and then she spits the tea out because... So true, though. You're the asshole? Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's evident, but like, let's find something crazy. Let's find something crazy. Something crazy. You're the asshole? I'm sorry, this is your business how? Your user did not receive Reddit comment for this? Come on. Okay, here we go. The first info post. By the way, whoever told me you can hide comments by clicking on this line, one of the finest legal minds I've ever known. Thank you so much. Info, why are you jealous of your sister-in-law, and why does your husband taking an integral supportive role in her wedding make you feel threatened? You're the asshole tradition. Okay, nope, normal person, sane individual. There's nobody. Nobody disagrees with this. Come on, get me into some spiciness, man. I don't sort by controversial. That's how you end up. Here's my impression of somebody in the controversial, most controversial post in every Am I the Asshole thread not related to public health. Something, the vaccines. Can you add like a sane filter to controversial as well? That would be nice. I'm scrolling. Am I the asshole for making my son walk the wall? Hold on. Am I the asshole for using a spray bottle to train my nephew? Hold on. Before I get started here, this is a genuine question. The first sentence, my nephew is a rainbow baby. I need to inform myself At first, I thought a rainbow baby was one of those kids that the parents are convinced they have psychic powers. But I think that means that's an indigo child. It's two different things. Okay. It's a baby born after a complication from a previous pregnancy. Okay. Well, I'm glad I looked it up. But they could also have psychic powers. I don't know how that's relevant to using a spray bottle to train them, but anyway, let's see. My nephew is a rainbow baby. My sister had trouble conceiving. He was kind of a miracle. She was 42 when she finally managed to give birth. She was on bed rest for the last 3 months of her pregnancy. My nephew's now 6, and while I love him, he's a monster. He throws tantrums when things don't go his way. He screams if he loses playing a game. He refuses to understand why he can't ride my 7-year-old St. Bernard. Yeah, okay. This two things can be true at the same time. A 6-year-old can be a little crazy, and you can be frustrated by it, and it can also still be normal behavior. For sure. Just because it's a kid doesn't mean you don't get frustrated by it, but it does mean like it doesn't make your case as strong as it would be if it was an adult. And he thinks any food is his. My husband is diabetic and he loves cookies. I found a bakery that makes amazing sugar-free cookies, but they are expensive. I budget for them because my husband deserves his treats when he gets home from work. I'm sorry to tell you that your husband does not matter anymore. Give the kid the cookies. He'll understand. If he comes home and you're like, sorry, I fed the 6-year-old the sugar-free cookies just to calm him down, he would be like a little disappointed, but he'd be like, you know what? I get it. What else is new? I think. Unless her husband is a dog, in which case he might be inconsolable. Let's see. My sister was visiting and my nephew was running around like a squirrel. He tripped and... Also, can you just like hide them or something? I don't understand. Is the kid like 7 feet tall? Why don't you just put him in like a overhead cabin or something, man? I don't know. I don't get it. My sister was visiting. My nephew was running around like a little squirrel. He tripped and started crying, so my sister picked him up. He saw the cookie container on the counter and started asking for some. I said, no, they're special cookies for his uncle. I offered him a regular cookie or some fruit, but he got all upset that he was being denied. My sister asked if he could please have a cookie. Okay, bad parenting. In my opinion, bad parenting. It's a little micro example, but if you're in somebody else's house and they say they can't have my property, and then the parent should respect that and not be like, no, please give it to them. My sister asked if he could please have a cookie. I relented and gave him one. He took a bite and said it was yucky and threw it on the ground. I was a little upset. A little while later, he came and asked for another cookie. I said no. My sister said to just give him one. I told her no. He wasted the last one. He started screaming that he wanted a cookie. I stood my ground. He eventually went away. You're a better parent than the actual mom. I'm sorry to tell you. At least in this micro example, you look like a better example. You look like a better parent than the actual mom here. Next time he came, he didn't ask. He just went for the container. I grabbed the spray bottle I used to keep the cat off the counter. I gave him a couple of squirts and said no. He got startled and ran away. My sister said her son isn't an animal to be reprimanded with water. The next time he came into my kitchen, I put my hand on the spray bottle. He didn't even look at the counter and went away. My sister called my parents to tell on me. Wait, aren't you like in your 40s? To tell on me for treating her kid like that. They are mad at me for not giving in to her poor baby. Okay, I'm just going to be honest. It's like not the asshole and also hilarious. For a multitude of different reasons, okay? And this is just my model for it, okay? But if you and your kid are in somebody else's house, the person whose house it is gets to be the good cop, and you as the parent has to be the bad cop. You can't be a parent and child united against the host to get what you want. You have to be Like, you have to say, no, my kid can't have a cookie. And then if the host is like, well, he can have one cookie, then you're like, okay, but make sure to say thank you, Aunt Vivian. Good, just the first aunt name that popped into my head because I grew up watching The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air at least a little bit. And that's the way the cycle goes around. Now you got cool aunts. You've established boundaries as a parent. The kid understands that, they don't just get a choice. They don't get complete control of what they're doing in all situations. And then it goes around and around and around. If the parent is unwilling to do that and you force the aunt to be the mom, well, then she gets to choose the discipline within reason. It's using a spray bottle on the kid. I think the kid, at 6, listen, people will say like they're just a kid, and that's true, but 6 is old enough to understand that actions have consequences. I wouldn't expect a 6-year-old to be like, oh, I don't want to eat candy because long term it might contribute to like insulin sensitivity. I don't expect them to have that kind of long term planning. But like someone told me not to eat a cookie, I'm going to go eat it, then sure. Give them a little spray with the spray bottle. Why not? And plus, apparently it worked. Honestly, the only thing I want to criticize the aunt for in this situation is that I feel like most 6-year-olds would just power through. Like if they got sprayed in the face with a little bit of water, they'd be like, okay, my face gets wet and I get unlimited cookies. Like that's a sweet trade. But it worked, so I'm not going to be a hater. I'm surprised that the punishment was that effective. But I don't think she's the asshole. I think the mom needs to, I'm not sure what word I want to use. She needs to be a little firmer in establishing boundaries for her child. Also, what kind of you got offered like a real cookie and you want to eat the sugar-free one? Like just relax. Reddit's going to call her an asshole. I don't know, it's tough because the stereotype on Reddit is that they hate women, but they also hate kids, and I think they might hate kids more than they hate women. I think and again, this sounds like out of context, this sounds bad. I think on Reddit, people like women when they're being like good parents and family members. They hate women when they stop their partner from doing something that he wants to do. Am I the asshole for punching a hole in my wall after my girlfriend said she doesn't want me to ride a motorcycle without my helmet on? That's always like, it's your house. Where does she think she can get off using you for your refrigerator and your sweet Dolby setup and then tell you how to live your life? You better kick her to the curb and make sure you film the whole thing so she doesn't try to accuse you of something, I think if it was like, am I the asshole for telling my nephew he's a little fricker? They would be like, no, kids suck. You're based. Let's see. I mean, not the asshole, obviously. Does the spray bottle work on your sister? I cackled. I can't read this, man. I'm sorry. I can't read your comment if it starts with I literally cackled. Let's do it. I legitimately cackled because my ADHD brain would immediately go, listen, I don't know what else to do, but there's a squirt bottle in my current perception and it works on pets. That's fair. I totally get it. So let's break this down before some weirdo comes in and tries to make you feel guilty. No, I want the weirdo to come in. I want to read the weirdo. Your husband has specific needs that can get pricey. As a person who has dietary limitations and who lives with others who do as well, I know how unfair the celiac and diabetic tax is on a budget-strained house. This kid's going to get hit so hard by the world. I'm going to kick that son of a bitch bison's ass so hard that the next bison wannabe is going to feel it. I'm going to kick that son of a bitch bison's ass so hard. The next bison wannabe is going to feel it. This kid is going to get hit so hard by the world, and I legitimately bet this is the first time anyone said this, so I have two things for you. A golden not the asshole that I will vigorously and aggressively defend, and advice. if your sister can't get her kid to understand your house has rules for a reason and that you're unable to afford financially or from a stress perspective her excessive spoiling of that kid, simply ban them from coming over. You have every right to protect your home, your sanity, and quite frankly, I hope it right pisses her off if you do it, so she's forced to realize the way she's raising or not raising her child harms others. Actually, a very sensible comment until it always takes a Reddit swerve at the end, which is we have a minor disagreement in a situation that in a week we'll all laugh about. Cut him off. Never see him again. Issue a psychotic ultimatum as soon as possible. I regret that I have only the one update to give. Same. Not the asshole. Yeah, not the asshole. Okay, I mean, this is fair. We're starting to get into it a little bit here. Could he kick that son of a bitch bison's ass so hard? Am I the asshole for making my son walk the dog? Asshole. This should be good. Throwaway account and fake names because my wife is also on Reddit. Brother, if you don't want your wife to find your Am I the Asshole post, you should make up a fake story. What kind of person is going to read a story that echoes their real life, one for one, and then be like, well, the names are changed, though. This can't be... This exact thing happened to me, and all of our children are exactly the same age, and yet the names are different. You know what? I think you're right. The best comments are not the ones that are like, you're the asshole. There's never an excuse to spray a 6-year-old with a spray bottle. The best comments are the ones that are like, not the asshole, and also you didn't go far enough. Your sister should be in prison for child neglect. My uncle would never have let me get away with that when I was 6. Except he couldn't because he died saving me from the train tracks and so on and such as and the gym and the pigs and the pigs. Sorry. Sorry. Moving on. Throwaway account and fake names because my wife is also on Reddit. And sorry for the long post. Don't be sorry. Just trim it down like 40%. My wife and I have 3 sons. Alex, Dylan, and Jake. When I was a kid, I always wanted a dog, but my parents said no. I never got the chance to get one during my 20s, but recently my interest in owning one was sparked again. So I asked my family what they thought about getting a dog. My wife wasn't enthusiastic about it, but she relented after a few weeks of me asking. Alex and Jake were excited to get one, but Dylan's immediately opposed to this idea. You're 42 years old. Why are you writing like this? I'm not saying you should just go out and buy a dog if you want a dog because you're 42. I'm just saying, like, why are you writing like, when I was a kid, I always wanted a dog. Okay, like, well, you're not a kid anymore. You're 42. It's not to say that you can't have a dog at age 42, but like, why are you using your childhood ambition as like as a cudgel here? I don't understand. Hey, Cetra13, thanks for the gifted subscriptions. Thank you. I'm not shaming him for having childhood dreams. Okay, it's just that. I mean, doesn't he have bigger problems? Hey, does he have... like, listen, I don't know where this is going. So maybe I shouldn't jump in and judge yet. But like, if you want a dog, you could just get... Okay, let's read it. You're right. Let's not go in too far. It's just the first sentence. Sorry, I primed myself with... Look, he's the asshole based on the flair. Let me go in, okay? Dylan was always different than my other sons. He never had an interest in sports and was always more subdued than his brothers, which always made it hard for me to connect with him. Right? Yeah, he's not into football. It's hard for 2 men to connect over something that's not like a round ball trying to go through a net. He remained opposed to the idea of getting a dog, but me and my other sons managed to wear him down until he finally relented. Hey, Dylan's 11 years old. Why don't you just get a dog and then take care of it? And if he's 11. Who cares? You don't need the whole house to... like be on exactly the same page on every decision. It's crazy. Are you afraid of dogs? Sure. If he's got a dog phobia, otherwise, why don't you just buy a dog? And Dylan might be like, I'm not gonna walk it. Okay, then I'll walk it. It was my childhood dream to have a dog. I think Dylan just wants his dad to start with like a gerbil first. And then be like, hey, Dad, I know you've always wanted a dog, but let's try a gerbil for like 3 months. And if you take care of the gerbil and you still love it, then we can talk about the dog. Okay? Problem is, he hasn't changed his mind yet. Wait, however, he said if we did get a dog, he wasn't going to be interacting with it or taking care of it, that it would be completely on me and on his brothers. I found this ridiculous. It seems very sensible. That seems like something an 11-year-old would say, and also is completely fine because it's the dad who wants the dog. I don't understand what's going on here. Of course he's not going to stick with it. No 11-year-old kid is going to be like, I'm going to ignore this dog for his whole life. He's probably going to pet him like on day 2 and be like, now it's my best friend. But like the dad's got the responsibility to take care of the dog. The problem is he hasn't changed his mind. We've had Zeus for 7 months now, and Dylan has not warmed up to him in the slightest. He doesn't play with the dog. He doesn't cuddle with him. He doesn't let Zeus into his room because he destroys stuff. Whenever he is near the dog, he just ignores him. I find this completely ridiculous. Zeus loves Dylan, and he follows him around whenever he sees him and jumps up on him to get his attention, but Dylan just isn't receptive to it. To change this, I told Dylan last week he would be in charge of walking the dog every day after school. Wake up, honey. Dumbest idiot on the earth just dropped. Psychotic moron just popped up from the ground like a little prairie dog. Dylan straight up refused, and he shut down the conversation every time I bring it up. It's been a week, and he hasn't walked the dog once. In my frustration, I told him if he didn't start listening, I wouldn't allow him to go to the comic book store anymore. He freaked out and told my wife! Dylan, you freaking narc! How dare you? My son's a damn snitch, man. He told Mom. Now my wife is upset with me, claiming I knew what I was getting into with this, and I knew Dylan wouldn't be playing with the dog, but his intolerance of the dog was weird, and I can't entertain it any longer. My wife has been short with me ever since that conversation, and Dylan is cold with me as well. Alex is now agreeing with his mother, which is making me have second thoughts. So Reddit, am I the asshole? This one is going to have some insane comments. Like, insane that are like, you're the asshole, but you should leave your family and let them get, like, a benevolent stepdad. There's 100% going to be comments that are like, you should let your family... If you can't respect your family's happiness, you should just leave them. Let's see. So, obviously, he's an asshole. Like, there's nothing... It's cut and dry. It's not even up... Like, there's no gray area whatsoever. There's nothing to mine except let's see the madness that goes on in the peanut gallery. Oh my God, the bullet points, man. So, you are 3 people who want a dog and could take care of a dog, but your son who didn't want the dog has to, even though you told him he wouldn't have to. What you've taught your son: you are a liar. It's okay to not take care of your own responsibilities, and you punish him intentionally because he isn't you. Edit, thank you for the awards. I appreciate it, but please stop. This comment isn't genius or anything great. Stop! Stop with the hero's not a word we use lightly. You know what? It's the firefighters that are the real Stop! I mean, it's a sane comment. Dylan, I won't interact with the dog. OP buys the dog. Dylan doesn't interact with the dog. OP? By the way, you're the asshole. It's a meme. I like it. Okay. Let me get this straight. Your son doesn't like sports, so it's hard for you to connect with him. He didn't want a dog, but you got one anyway, and when he didn't change his mind, you punished him. The one hobby you say he does like, comics, you want to ban him from until he shows interest in your hobby. Okay? You know what? When you put it that way, I'm starting to think this guy might be a little bit of an asshole. You're the asshole. Big time. Poor Dylan. 7 years and counting. Want to bet? What is that? Oh, until he can move out. Okay. Alex, the heir, the pride and joy with the same likes as you. Dylan, the spare, can't click with you because you do not understand him. Jake, the baby, again, someone you can click with. Holy cow, man. Dylan's situation sounds like the typical overlooked middle child. Here's my impression of middle children. This is classic middle child stuff. This reminds me so much of being a middle child. Sorry. Middle children mouthing. I'm a middle child. I'm also the oldest and the youngest. Riddle me this. He is his own person, has not to be your carbon copy to show the world your manliness, your prowess betwixt the sheets. You wore your wife down with weeks of nagging, then you set your sights on your defenseless child. He said no, you pressured him. You used your authority person, your position as an authority person to wear him down, saying yes to a dog. He warned you, your dog, not his problem. And what are you doing now? Again, stomping over him, trampling his boundaries into the dust, just because, again, he isn't a carbon copy of you, is his own person, with his own wants and his own needs. In future years, when you browse through social media and see a post that he is engaged but he didn't tell you, when you see wedding photos for a wedding you got no invitation to, the birth, the baptism of a grandchildren you will never see, then search for this post, read it, and maybe then you will understand that no is a full sentence. But until then, the Lord of the Manor wants a dog. Lord of the Manor gets a dog after nagging, cajoling, pressuring wife and middle child into agreeing. But now the Lord is pissed that a forced yes is still a no, and again abuses his authority as a parent to pressure said child into behavior the Lord deems acceptable. There are people out there who dislike There are people out there who dislike dogs, who want a gerbil, a cat, a snake. There are people out there who are so against getting a pet since they know exactly who will have to care for them. Not the owner. No. The care will be placed onto their shoulders if they want it or not, as you are doing now. But guess what? There are people out there who know how to help themselves, to stand up for themselves. How often do you think you can force Dylan to try to bond with Zeus by walking him? To play with him? To care for him? How fast comes the day when you come home from work and get informed that Dylan walked Zeus as the Lord ordered, but sadly Zeus got away and is nowhere to be found? And all this just because you can't accept that Dylan is not you. Dylan's going to kill the dog? Edit, thank you for the Redditors for the kind awards. I finally figured out how to get a notice for them and say thank you via the chat, I hope. In case this doesn't work again, thank you. And please say a prayer for Dylan, will you? Holy. Sanest comment on the internet just dropped? Why is it it's written like, this comment was brought to you by Peter Baelish. Lord of the Manor wanted a dog, but that didn't matter. Peter did not want one, but that didn't matter, did it, Ned? Did it? What the Lord wants, the Lord gets. And who had to look after the dog? Who had to feed it and water the dog? And find an off-leash park, because in a normal park you can't take your dog off the leash or someone might yell at you because there's kids running around. Not to mention, it wasn't until the eldest child started. Imagine reading this insane comment and then being like, you know what? Not to mention, it wasn't until the eldest child started siding with the mother and brother that OP started second-guessing himself. The words of his wife and son were not enough. This is the vibe at, like, PAX when somebody in shepherd cosplay goes up and gets a hot dog. It's my favorite hot dog on the Citadel. Yeah, that'll be $6.97 there. Renus Pinkle, thanks for the gifted subscriptions. Thank you. Thank you. Did you want a side salad with that, or Or are you good with the fries? When someone Googles total asshole, I'm guessing your photo pops up first. You're a manipulative husband and a crappy father who doesn't like it when he can't get his own way. Well, I mean, it's a little much. Plus, I've Googled it, and that is not what comes up, by the way. Okay, so sane. It's a lot of sanity. One that's written like a, like an essay where every line is its own paragraph. No, okay. All right, fair enough. Nothing's ever going to compare to the second best comment for sure. Am I the asshole for refusing to pay to fix the babysitter's laptop? Let me guess. Oh, wait. Am I the asshole for begging my boyfriend not to bring Heinz ketchup to omakase? Sorry, I gotta know. Oh, okay, one sec. Sorry, this all seems ridiculous, but I need a sanity check. I consider myself a foodie, but my boyfriend Jay is the exact opposite. Like, he'll literally eat, but is more than that. He always starts things with me when I try to take him out for good food. For example, last year, I got us reservations at a steakhouse, and he made a point of ordering his steak well done with ketchup. The thing is, he doesn't even like eating this food. He does it this way to make a point that no one, not even I, can tell him how to make his food or eat his food. Well, his birthday is coming up, and he likes sushi, so I wanted to treat him to a nice omakase experience. It's where you sit with the chef and eat the food in front of them. It's more than I spend on food in 2 weeks, but I thought it could be fun for both of us. Today, he told me he's only going to go if he can bring a bottle of Heinz ketchup and put it on the table. I thought he was joking, but he was serious. Did Heston Blumenthal steal your girlfriend in high school or something? Like, what happened? Why does he have such a chip on his shoulder about fine dining? I don't understand. Did Nancy Silverton, hit you with her car? What's the issue? Please read the comments. Okay, well, I haven't even finished the post yet, okay? I told him I've literally never seen him or anyone else enjoy sushi with ketchup. He actually got mad at me saying no one gets to decide for him how he eats his food. He went on to yell at me that it's a shitty birthday gift because I'm the foodie and he isn't. I think he's being obnoxious with the ketchup thing, but maybe he's just making a point about me forcing my hobbies on him. I don't know. Am I the asshole? No, not in the slightest. You know what, though? Why don't you give him what he's always wanted? Why don't you take a trip to the Heinz Ketchup Museum in Allentown, Pennsylvania? For his birthday. If he loves ketchup so much, then why? Hey, if you love ketchup so much, then why don't you go to the Heinz Museum and fuck your ketchup bottle? Why don't you fuck your bong? You know what? I will fuck my bong, doggy style for once. It's from Knocked Up. Anyway, info. Okay, hold on. Info. Your boyfriend opposes fine dining. Why is that your birthday gift to him? Exactly. If I was an avid camper and my significant other hated it and always insisted on bringing ridiculous stuff and making a scene to prove a point, I would not be planning a camping trip for her. Maybe they need to have a deeper conversation about putting up with activities the other person doesn't enjoy for the sake of their relationship, or maybe they're just not compatible. Counterpoint. Why is your boyfriend so fucking weird? Also, yeah, she said her boyfriend likes sushi. So she's taking him to a nice sushi restaurant. What, is he like sushi but only if it fucking sucks? Or it's like out of a styrofoam container? I don't understand. Also, count info. Why is your boyfriend so weird? I don't get it. Why would you take him to omakase for his birthday if he isn't a foodie? Sounds like a gift for you. OP does say he likes sushi, though. Okay, here we go. Person who has had sushi 2 times in their life. I feel like there's a big range of what people might mean when they say they like sushi. Like if someone likes California rolls and all those Americanized rolls with avocados and jalapenos, they could say they like sushi. Is it traditional Japanese sushi? No, but it's still a type of sushi. Or maybe they like sushi boats where you pick little dishes off of a conveyor belt. Omakase is a pretty specific type of sushi served in a specific way according to Wikipedia. Speaking as someone who does like a good omakase, I can see how someone who claims to like sushi might not necessarily like omakase. Hey, thanks for the birthday gift, girlfriend, but this isn't exactly the kind of sushi that I like. And I'm an adult man, which means apparently I don't know how to have a conversation. Instead, I have to just escalate the bit like it's some kind of improv sketch. It actually is pretty reasonable for an adult man to throw a temper tantrum because he said he likes sushi and you take him to nice sushi instead of cheap sushi. What's wrong with you? You're the asshole. Why are you taking him out to nice restaurants for his birthday? Do something else. Either he finds you controlling or he's messing with you in a way you don't find funny. Either way, there's no good reason to try to force the experience you want for his birthday. Oh, and if he did bring ketchup in to make a point, he'd be an asshole as well, and possibly not allowed by staff. Yeah, you can't tell him how to eat, but it's still rude. Here's the thing. He's the asshole, but you're the asshole. Take him. I find it hard to believe OP wouldn't know this would be how the plan would go, so why even bother? Take him to McDonald's. He'd probably be happier. You got to break up with your boyfriend if he says, like, take me to McDonald's for my birthday. He's a grown man. I ate McDonald's 2 times this week, but you got to, like, there's a time and a place, man. Come on. Boyfriend needs to get a life? Bro, your girlfriend's taking you out for nice sushi. Why don't you just eat the sushi? I don't understand. Just, like, so many of these posts, I'm like, why? You're going to run into enough bumps in your life without getting in your own way, you know? It's your birthday. Your girlfriend says, I want to take you out for a nice meal. Okay. Go out for a nice meal and eat it. Like, I don't understand. Or have a conversation and be like, hey, I appreciate that you were thinking of me, and I do like sushi, but only the gas station kind. At the same time, could you instead take that money and buy me a yearly subscription to Maxim magazine or something like that? I just don't understand, like, why like 7 pairs of shoes from Winners or TJ Maxx. Like, I don't understand the problem. Like, why you gotta be, you catch up with the month club. Sure, even better. I also think the fact that he doesn't like eating out, I don't buy it. Everybody likes eating at restaurants. It's like a universal truth. Who doesn't like eating good food? Not me. What if someone else is paying? I don't. Yeah, but this guy's in a relationship. That's like a lot of being in a relationship is just like 2 people going to a restaurant with each other, you know? If he doesn't like going to restaurants, maybe he should just stay single for the rest of his life. That's like at least 30% of the damn deal. I just don't understand why he's getting in his own damn way, man. Just doesn't make sense. Nuclear take. Take him to an all-you-can-eat sushi buffet. Listen, okay? It's a little snobby. It's a little judgmental. You 2 adults. She has the means, apparently, to at least, with some budgeting, afford the nice sushi meal. Take him to an all-you-can-eat sushi buffet is where you take like a 12-year-old or a 55-year-old for their birthday. It's not where 2 people in like a romantic relationship with each other go in their mid-20s. That's when you go to a nice place before you got to get in the night. By the way, yo, Aaron, thank you, thank you. Appreciate the gifted subscriptions. That's when you go to the nice places, and then later, if you choose, you have a kid, and you're like, man, I'm really glad I went to all those nice places because now I can only go to restaurants that have a lot of parking, a lot of seating, high chairs available, French fries and quesadillas on the menu for like the next 12 years. That's my life, right? Just enjoy the experience. It's not going to last forever. Yeah, as you start eating all your family dinners at the damn old spaghetti factory, man. Everybody sucks here. You don't bring your own condiments, but I'm guessing you're a pain in the ass about food. To which he reacts by ordering food that will annoy you. Both are absurd behaviors. Also, you don't bring someone to restaurants you want to go to for their birthday. You go to their favorite. Yeah, but he's 10. I don't know. I'm sorry. Listen, I think in principle, yes. But in practice, grow up. You can't just go to a great restaurant for your birthday. It has to be your favorite restaurant. Like, how old are you? It's like how the 6-year-old who got hit with the spray bottle react. I know it's your special day. I just get one day. I just get one special day. Can I? Well, then offer the suggestion. Don't just threaten the ketchup, the football. You know, you got to turn two keys. And at the same time, and a Heinz bottle pops out and ruins your relationship. Like, just relax. Why don't you just be like, I don't want to go to the sushi restaurant? Doesn't make any damn sense. She'll be like, fine, where do you want to go? And he'll suggest a place that has 5 out of 10 food, but like 92 beers on tap. She'll be like, okay, fine, for one night. For one night, I'll get rigatoni bolognese at a pub for you because it's your favorite restaurant because you're a little kid. That's the spirit of a relationship, okay? He needs to learn how to compromise. Yes, even on his birthday. Or, I don't know, maybe he could take the sauce. Am I the asshole for refusing to... I got a lot of -2s on that. It's like the most -2s I've ever gotten. And I'm living for it. I wear those -2s proudly. Am I the asshole for refusing to pay to fix the baby? Plus, you know that he'd be like, well, as soon as he sat down for the omakase, he'd be like, you got any sushi that isn't too fishy? Don't even get me... I don't want to be on the right side of history in that one. Am I the asshole for refusing to pay to fix the babysitter's laptop? I, single mom of 2, hired a babysitter after I started working a new job. Used to do work from home for 2 years. Join the club. My kids are 8 and 6. The babysitter's 17. If my 2 kids each want an apple for every 2 years they've been alive, but the babysitter only has 94 cents for every year that she's been alive, what grocery store should she buy the apples from in order to ensure that everybody has a good snack time? She brings her laptop with her to study, which is perfectly okay with me as long as she keeps an eye on the kids. Okay, sane person spotted so far. Yesterday, I came home and the babysitter showed me her laptop that got broken by my youngest. I was shocked and asked how this happened. She said she left the laptop in the living room and went to make the kids lunch, but my youngest grabbed it and ran with it till he dropped it and broke the screen. I said that was horrible and apologized, but stated it was her fault for leaving the laptop within reach of children. She said she thought my kids were old enough to know not to touch other stuff. I explained they might have thought it belonged to us since it was in our house. She asked if I could pay to get it fixed, but I refused and insisted it was her problem, not mine. She ranted about having exams soon. She did some bullshit about, I'm a student, I got a test, I gotta take some tests. I wasn't listening or whatever because I was already seeing red. She ranted about not having enough money to get it fixed. We argued. I had to tell her to go home after she persisted. Later on, I got a call from her dad basically blaming the whole thing on me and demanding I pay to get the laptop fixed, but I still refused. Now she's refusing to come again unless I pay for her laptop repair, even though I paid her in advance to watch the kids. Can I be honest with you? This is kind of like an everybody sucks here. I'm not just taking the side of the parent. The parent definitely sucks. They have a responsibility. The child broke something that didn't belong to them. At the same time, like when you're the just relax for a second. Just before you get to minus twos, just relax a second. What did the babysitter do? The kids are in her care, and you gotta understand that like a 6-year-old, you gotta watch them. Like I'm not saying she was negligent, but you if you have like valuable fragile stuff in the house, that's why you have to keep an eye on them. So when they pick it up, you say put that shit down, you're gonna break it. I feel like they both played a role. I think they got to cut the laptop in half. She's 17 though. Yes, and if she was 6 months older, she'd be like legally culpable. I don't buy it. I'm not saying the parent doesn't suck. I'm simply saying that, well, suck is not the right answer. I think they're being an asshole in this situation. But I do think everybody, I think both parties are both parties I think are culpable. I don't know. I might say 70% parent responsibility, 30% babysitter responsibility. What's my basis for that? I fucking made it up. Okay? There's nothing, I'm sure, in the criminal code that allows you to hand down a judgment like that. But I made it the fuck up. Should have sprayed her with a spray bottle. True, not the babysitter, the kid, just to be clear. I don't know. There's nothing else to say, I guess. I don't even want to read the comments on this because you already know what everybody's going to be saying. It's because Reddit is very anti-child. But like, if you have this, all I'm saying, this is just me arguing the 30%. I'm not arguing the 70. Okay. If you're the babysitter, and you're like, you're in charge of the kids during the time that you're watching them. If she said like, oh, one of the kids like threw up on my keyboard and it broke, I would be like, that's 100% my fault as the parent. If they were like, I wasn't watching them and they picked it up and ran with it and then fell over and smashed it, I'd be like, well, why didn't you fucking say put that shit down? Seems like that's something that you could have had a role in preventing. She was making them lunch, so fucking have the kids come into the kitchen while you're making them lunch. Move the laptop to the kitchen while you're making them lunch. Put the laptop in your laptop bag while you're making them lunch or something like that. Like, we tried nothing and we're all out of ideas, man. She's 17 though? I'm not saying put her in the freaking chokey. I'm just saying it's partly her responsibility as well. I'm not saying send her to prison. I'm just saying, yeah, she's 17. She made a mistake that maybe an adult that's older who has more experience in these situations wouldn't have made. What if the kid, wait, what if she was, I was changing one of the kids' diapers. The other one grabbed a knife and put it into the electrical socket. Can you pay for my laptop? I didn't have it plugged into a surge protector, and now it's broken. Well, the parent shouldn't. What was the parent doing having an electrical socket? With the babysitter, she was changing a diaper. I'm still fighting. You know what? I'm just for that, 65-35. 60-40. 60-40. I'm getting close to... Now, that being said, I can definitely understand why the babysitter would not come back to the house. It seems like they have a very acrimonious relationship right now. It seems a little bit brain dead to be like, I don't understand why she's holding a grudge. Well, she doesn't have any money to fix her laptop, and she thinks it's your fault, or at least that you should pay for the laptop. I'll send this to your future babysitter. Bro, if this happened to me, I would pay for her laptop. Obviously. This is a single mom working a job. She's got 2 kids. I understand, but funds are tight. I'm not going to ruin a relationship with a reliable babysitter over, what, like fucking $300 or something like that? I'm like most of the people that make these posts, I'm not that stupid, at least. My wife wants to take me out to a nice restaurant. Oh, I'd rather go to Nando's. No thanks. Like, that's not me. I'm like, yeah, sure. Let's get the omakase. That sounds like fun. Sure. I'll have one cocktail. I don't get in the... I try to get out of my own way as much as possible instead of getting into my own way. Can't forget the Heinz. Yo, can we akify that omakase? How much is a laptop? I don't know. I mean, it runs the gamut. Somewhere between $300 and $2,000. I mean, I learned to program on a MacBook because Kate had a MacBook. Then I took a C# class, and I was like, I need a Windows laptop. I went to Best Buy. I got a laptop for like $350 Canadian. It's a piece of shit. Don't you get like 6,000 viewers? Well, yes, at the time. But I just, act broke, stay rich. Walter. They cost more than that now? The shit was in like 2017. Everything costs more than that. Old. Where were you in 2017? If you were still in middle school, that's a cell phone. Anyway, not the kind of cell phone that you grew up on and went to school on for 2 years between 2020 and 2022. All right, that was a low blow. Sorry, I got a little heated there. That was probably an iPad anyway. Probably wasn't your cell phone. I was in grad school then. Oh, still suckling off the teat of the public sector? I was busy keeping the churn of the economy running. You're welcome. What were you doing? I don't want to go TA my class at 10:45 tomorrow, dude. I don't want to. Dude, I swear I can't TA one more Chem 101 lab, okay? It's just... Sorry, okay, I'm making enemies. I'm sorry. I'm joking.